Orion Dustscribe. Orion Dustscribe wiped the fine grey dust from his spectacles, a ritual performed a dozen times a day in the deep trench. The hum of the sonic trowel was his symphony, the layered strata of the earth his only text. He was unearthing the 21st century, a period the history vids called the Great Acceleration. Most days it was just plastic fragments and corroded silicon. But he felt a tension, a quiet dissonance he chose to ignore. The artifacts felt intentional, like messages in a bottle not meant for him, but for someone far more significant. He buried the unease, as he always did, under layers of academic procedure and catalogue numbers. The proximity alarm shrieked, a sound never before heard in the dig's sterile silence. A capsule, sleek and impossibly pristine, breached the trench wall in a shower of soil and rock. Its surface cooled with a faint hiss. A seam appeared, and a hatch slid open. No one emerged. Instead, a beam of light projected a flickering image of a woman in archaic formal wear. Orion Dustscribe, the image spoke, its voice a crackle of static and age. The artifact-designated loom is at a relic. It is a countdown. You have 48 hours to prevent a paradox. The proof is in your own findings. Catalogue number 734 Alpha. Then it vanished, leaving only the gaping hole and the scent of ozone. Frantically, Orion retrieved case 733 Alpha. It was a child's toy, a simple cube of colored plastic. Using standard resonance dating, he activated it. Instead of revealing its age, the cube projected a complex chronometric schematic into the air, a map of his own life, intersecting with the dig site at a precise point tomorrow. Suddenly, the lab's lights died. Red emergency strips flickered on. A voice, cold and synthetic, echoed from the comms. Regulation violation 7-12. Unauthorized temporal analysis. The site is now quarantined. All personnel are to remain for debriefing. He hadn't found an answer. He'd triggered a lockdown, revealing the dig was not a scholarly endeavor, but a prison guarding a terrifying truce. Trapped in his lab, Orion watched as security and chronology agents, their faces obscured by helmets, began securing the trench. A soft tap came at his vent. The grate shifted and a young apprentice, Elara, slipped inside.
"I saw the message, Dr. Dustscribe," she whispered, her eyes wide with fear and excitement. "My grandfather told these stories about the loom. The agency isn't protecting history, they're editing it. I get you past the scrubbers, into the deep vault where the core artifacts are stored."
Orion hated the recklessness, the deviation from protocol. But looking at the eager, terrified face of his apprentice, he saw the only thread left to pull. He nodded, his academic detachment crumbling. Chauvet. They navigated the service ducts, emerging into the high-security vault, a cathedral of forbidden history. There, pulsing with a soft blue light, was the loom. But as Orion reached for it, the vault doors hissed open. Director Valas, the man who had signed his dig permits, stood flanked by agents. "A pity, Orion. You were our best. The loom doesn't prevent a paradox, it maintains one. It holds our reality together." He raised a weapon not meant for stun. "Your sacrifice will be recorded as a tragic accident." Elara, thinking quickly, slammed a hand on a console, sealing the vault's inner chamber, but sealing herself in with Valas. "Go!" she screamed. The cost of pursuit was her freedom, maybe her life. Alone with the loom, its light playing over his dusty hands, Orion finally understood. The tension he'd ignored wasn't professional curiosity, it was a primal knowing. He wasn't just an archaeologist. The schematic from the cube wasn't a map of his life, it was a blueprint. He was the artifact, a construct, built and planted in this time to be the loom's unknowing caretaker. Valis wasn't just protecting a device, he was protecting Orion's own ignorance. The conflict wasn't with an agency, but with the very nature of his own existence. Was he a man or a relic? His entire identity, his name, his history, all were dust, all a fiction. A calm clarity washed over him. His purpose was not to dig up the past, but to choose the future. He placed his hands on the loom. He felt its paradox, not as a threat, but as a question. He could remain the caretaker, preserving the fragile, curated reality, or he can unravel the thread. With a thought, he deactivated the field. The world didn't end, it changed. The vault walls seemed to soften, the air tasted different. Outside, the dig site was gone, replaced by a wild, untamed landscape. He was no longer Orion Dustscribe, archaeologist. He was Orion, the first man of a new, uncharted world. The dig was over. The discovery had just begun.